How did you score it?
I did a draw, 6-6.
It was just fantastic.
I thought it was going to be like a split decision win to him.
Blood, sweat, tears.
There'd be like a little calm and then a storm.
Yeah.
Boom. And then calm again.
I think he lacked a little bit of self-belief in himself.
Well, I think they're the two like upset.
Eubank Benn, rematch. Do you think a rematch will happen?
Yeah, I'd like to see a rematch. Welcome back to BoxCast. In this episode, we're going to look back at the weekend's action, with the main event being Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn in the heavily anticipated grudge match, and then the undercard fights on that as well. So let's start with the main event, Simon. It was worth the hype.
Oh, British boxing won yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
British boxing was seriously won.
Watching it, and I made a comment to the people watching with us, you know, when they made the entrances, because he made it to Simply the Best, which was his dad's theme, and Conor Benn had the Ready or Not. That the fight better be up to their entrances, because their entrances were quite good, but I think the fight was better.
I don't think anyone saw that fight coming.
No.
The way it panned out. No one had.
Yeah.
No one saw that.
Well, I think we said that if it goes on to points, I think Eubank's going to win, but I think quite a few people said that. But yeah, I think the way it got to there, I don't think many people anticipated.
No, what both fighters shown was take and dig deep. When
neither of them wanted to lose.
No, and when there's nothing left, he can still dig deep, both of them. It was just fantastic. Skill went out the window after about round 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And it was just...
Well, I think Conor started the way we said, aggressively and out. And I think he was doing quite well in the early rounds.
He was. I think he was in and out, but I think
Eubank took about 3 rounds to get going.
Eubank's left jab was working really well.
He wasn't getting it in the first few rounds. It started about round 3, near the end of second half of round 3, he started clicking it. Because before that, it was surprising. It was Conor Benn who was beating him to the jab. And because he was jumping in, obviously he's got the shorter reach. But I think from around about round 3-ish, Eubank sort of acclimatized. And then as Benn tied a little bit, I think Eubank started taking over. I think Benn had a second wind around about the, say, about 8th, 9th, 10th round. Sort of that part. But I think the 11th and 12th were clearly Eubank's, isn't it? So
it was just.
I do have a bit of a. Well, go on first.
What's your
bugbear about the scoring? But yeah,
why? How did you score it?
I did a draw, 6-6, or maybe one round.
Yeah,
I could see if it was 115, 113. I could see. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think
it was as wide. Well, I think it depends how you score your rounds and what you want. But I think a fair result would have been a draw.
Yeah, I don't
think a closer.
Yeah, I don't think Conor Benn won. And I think what was a close fight, and every round was super, super close. But on the exchanges, it just seemed to be Eubank finished the exchanges.
Well, I think he got more volume in than Benn. I think Ben did it in flurries. It's like he was taking a breather and then he'd just explode. Have a breather, then explode. I think Eubank was more pity-patty taps, but he'd get off good if he got into the rhythm, I think, and then he got his jab working from, like I said, round 3 or 4. I think he started...
I mean, both fighters were hurt during the 12 rounds. I think Eubank was hurt multiple times, far more times.
I think
than
Eubank
Conor
was hurt more than Benn.
Oh, definitely.
I think he's been taken to the hospital as well afterwards, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and hopefully he's okay. Hopefully both fighters are okay, because them fights shorten careers. They really do. I mean, forget about the scorecards. Yeah. Eubank won it for me, but not by that margin. But, like I say, just the fight was just absolutely unbelievable.
Well, you know when you get these things where they oversell it and hype it, and you get that point, then they don't deliver. I think this delivered, so I think it's a good advertisement for the sport.
And Junior was right. I didn't think he had that in him, and I didn't think Conor had that in him.
Yeah.
I think Junior was surprised at how good Conor's chin is because he took some proper bombs. I think Conor was surprised that Eubank could dig as deep as he did.
Yeah.
I think they surprised each other in that aspect. I mean, it was just... I can't see a fight this year beating that. Unless they do
Not for the drama, no.
Unless they do a rematch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's contenders for rounds of the year in there as well because they were just...
Well, it went to and fro, isn't it? I think Ben started better.
He just didn't know what was... I mean, it was to and fro
he took
through the rounds.
Yeah, well, that's where it started shifting it. I think Ben was there and then it started shifting. And Eubank got on his game with the jab. But then Ben came back into it after when he thought, all right, he's getting outdone here. He's going to, basically go out. And then, did a flurry. And then, I think what got it over the line, Eubank finished strong in 11th and 12th.
He dug really, really deep.
I think it was something, it's an interesting stat. Go on, carry on.
Really, really, really deep, them last two rounds. I think Conor spent a bit too much time on the ropes in the last two rounds. Obviously,
I don't think he did enough in the last two rounds, but I don't know if he was just gassed out.
No, okay, well, he just sat on the ropes.
Or whether he thought, I'm ahead here.
No, he didn't think, there's no way he could have thought he was ahead. He knew it was a close fight. He just sat on the ropes far too long.
Eubank in the last three rounds landed 152 of 335 punches.
Yeah, it's a lot of punches he threw. But his legs were gone.
Ben's? Oh.
Both.
Yeah, I would say more Eubanks.
Yeah, I mean, Eubank looked jelly-legged from round 9 onwards. But it was just brilliant. Respect to both fighters. Like I say, there wasn't a lot of boxing skill involved. It was just... I told you, Chris Eubank Jr. is a great fighter.
But it was just a scrap, basically.
He's not a good boxer, but he's a great fighter. And he showed that. Conor did really well on that cut he had as well, because that was a bad cut.
I think that did slow him down a little bit.
It was just fantastic. The atmosphere there looked unreal.
Well, it's sold out. I thought it looked a bit at the beginning like it was going to be.
No, it was. I mean, I think they had 100,000 people on the waiting list waiting for tickets to come back on sale. They could have sold that out twice. It was one of them. As soon as it finished, I was wide awake because my adrenaline was pumping.
Yeah, it wasn't one that sent you to sleep, is it?
Just absolutely. And I even stood up and gave a round of applause at the end of the fight because it was just, like I say, British boxing won, us the public won.
Well, I think, and we've obviously started from the main fight. I think most of the fights on it were, well, there's one that was a bit one way. Two of them a bit one way, but I think you could put 3 of the fights where they've had like that sort of up. One's started well, then the other one's taken over, then another one's got back in.
The whole card from top to bottom was fantastic.
I think it was, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic show.
But it was like, I was a bit worried because I thought these are being quite good.
It was...
Is it going to flop? And then it was the best one of the night and you think, no, this is crescendo at the right time.
Forget all the dramas before with the weigh-ins and blah-de-blah-de-blah and the gloves and...
They didn't meet, did they? Or did I miss it? They didn't actually shake hands or do anything or touch gloves or anything, did they?
I think they give each other a pat. I think that was about it.
I didn't see it. I missed it. Because obviously his dad, Chris Eubank's dad, went to thingy, isn't it? And they all had their things. But
Yeah, I think from
he had quite a good...
what I'd heard, he was just basically saying to Chris Eubank Senior, "Thanks for coming. If it wasn't for you and my dad, we wouldn't be here."
Yeah.
It was it was good, and that picture when I think you're watching the Chris Billam-Smith fight, and then the car door opens and there's Senior. I mean, the crowd went mental, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was like, here we go. Was it a surprise? No,
Not really. I think
I think we all knew.
Yeah, that he was a bit of gamesmanship.
He was going to show up. He's still harping on about weight. He's not harping on about his son's weight, though. He's more harping on about Conor's weight. I read all the comments of you trolls out there going, a weight-trained Chris Eubank Jr. He's not weight-trained. That's his weight. That's been his weight for the last 5 fights.
Yeah.
Oh, with Matchroom. Matchroom didn't do the contract. It was Turkey Al-Sheikh that did the contract personally with him.
Yeah, well, if you look at the end when they stood with the ref, the size difference between them, I think you're looking at it and going, I don't think he looks that far off.
Right,
and they've agreed the terms, haven't they?
Let's get this contract straight. Chris Eubank Jr. dealt with the contract on his own with Turkey Al-Sheikh.
Yeah. So he only has himself to blame.
There was no Matchroom involvement. Yeah. There was no Ben Shalom involvement. It was just Chris Eubank Jr. and Turkey Al-Sheikh. Those were the terms, and that's what Chris Eubank Jr. wanted. So I don't stop.
No, I don't agree with
all
the
you trolls.
Thing.
Just stop harping on.
Yeah, he's a big guy for that size, and realistically, he's probably a super middleweight.
He's too small for super middleweight, though.
Well, I was going to say there's plenty of the super middleweights that then he isn't the big guy in the ring, the big bully in the ring. And obviously Conor Benn's small for that middleweight size, but I think the performance gives him a chance. The problem is you've got Johnny Beck and co, isn't it? Although Johnny Beck's probably going to go up as well.
There's other really good fighters in that weight. Just forget about the weight, because it wasn't an issue.
That's really
was not, and it was never going to be an issue.
Because at the end, if he'd have died at the last 2 rounds and Ben just took over, I would have had a little bit of sympathy. But he was never the most output was in the last 2 rounds, and I've just said
never going to be weight trained because that's his fighting weight.
And I'll just repeat: 335 punches thrown in the last 3 rounds.
His fighting weight is middleweight.
135, which are power shots.
He's not coming. Yeah. He's not coming down in weight.
Yeah, he's just not as shall we say disciplined and getting there.
Well, no. Do you know all I think that is? It was what 0.2. He just miscalculated.
0.5, yeah,
that's all it is.
Well, I think it was 0.2, and then it was it was 0.2, and then it went to 0. Like a quarter of that in it.
And from what I heard,
and he's apparently had to pay like $500,000.
I mean, from what I've heard, the scale was flicking between 0 and 0.2.
Yeah. I don't think that made a difference. I mean, obviously we know he's a naturally bigger guy.
Yeah, I think he's been bang on weight. He's not an issue. The fine. Do you know what? After that performance, I'd just say, do you know what? Let's give it to a boxing charity. Give the fine to a boxing charity.
It's a bit excessive, the fine.
Because he made...
It is what it is.
Yeah, just forget
But apparently he's paid that. He's paid...
Just forget about
the people who
weight.
missed the fight out of his own pocket. And what else was there? There's 3 payments he's made, isn't he, for all the things... Anyway, so he was like $750,000 down at the start of the fight.
He gave each fighter $3,000. And yeah, it's good. It's great for him. But Eddie Hearn, who got ripped for not paying them, he got all them fighters another fight pretty much straight away. Yeah. And like Eddie Hearn said, that cost him a lot more than $50,000.
Yeah.
So just forget about weight, gloves, this, that. Just enjoy what 2 gladiators put on, which was an absolute war. And you can't split them. I want to see it again. Will we see it again? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that fight had me absolutely mesmerised. It was just...
Oh, it was great entertainment.
It was
It was
just...
like you said, it started okay with a bit of
Just
boxing
fantastic.
and then just turned into a fight, a scrap.
It
Good
was.
old scrap.
Jaws were getting thrown, body punches, boom, blood, sweat, tears, energy sapping.
Oh, there's everything. They were
was just-
cuddling on the ground at one point.
Yeah.
I think there was a kiss in there somewhere when they
just
when they get
unreal.
cuts. The headbutt in there as well to get the cut.
What-
We should point out for Eubank, it wasn't a punch; it was the headbutt that opened it. Oh, an accidental headbutt.
yeah.
It wasn't on purpose.
Do you know
He
what,
broke
as
his
well?
head.
Deep down, these two are never going to see eye to eye, but deep down, they'll respect each other so much after this. They'll never admit it, but the respect them two will have for each other, because you can't not have respect after what them two have just gone through. You'll have respect for them.
Yeah.
They'll have respect for each other. Sorry, you know, it
Well, I
wasn't.
think a lot of people will have respect for both now. Because
Yeah,
I think that was better than. Right, well, I've got to say, it was better than I expected from performance from both.
I mean, both fellas should be super, super proud. There wasn't a parliamentary procedure in there, like everyone keeps saying. There was no parliamentary procedure. It was just fantastic. Yeah, the right man most probably did win.
Well, yeah, if you look at stats and the thing, but like it was more that it was. I thought it was going to be like a split decision win to him. I thought a judge will give it one way, like 115, 113. There'll be another one, and then there'll probably be two the other way or something like that. I think it was closer than that. I mean, you look at the punch stats and things, but there was a lot of the work.
I mean, Conor Benn was always on the front foot.
Yeah, he was always the aggressor, and like a lot of that, because he kept getting that overhand right on, and he was even catching them with left hooks, which is Eubank's punch. There's a few of them we got in it, one where he rocked him with it. And I think there's a lot of effectiveness and aggression from his side, which I think he tempered, because some of the taps were just taps, really. And I think he did get a second wind a bit later on. And like even his punch stats went up. They just got they started like reasonably and then just went, it like ramped it up, isn't it? All the way.
I think
the amount of punches in the last round.
I think
There's 200 punches
ring activity
thrown in the last round between the two of them.
Ring activity is
I think a little bit of rustiness was there.
yeah.
Do you think that's why he went a bit faster out the gates?
No, he was always going to come out flying.
We said it's
He
always
was
going to be aggressive.
always going, and he does in every fight.
And it worked for him as well. He was catching him quite a
Like
lot.
I'd like to have seen him. I know we wanted a nice small 18-foot ring. I think the last couple of rounds,
He could have done with a bigger...
no, this is the inexperience, and because he is a novice still, he's still learning. And as a trainer, I'd have gone, look, his legs are gone. Jab and move. And
Yeah, because he just let him come on to him instead of like...
just
the injury.
jab and move.
But
because I
suspect
think...
a bit of his legs... I don't think he was as bad as
Yeah, no,
Eubank
'cause
Jr.
Chris was on jelly. Chris looked like he was punching and walking through treacle. And I think if he'd had a bit more experience, he could have saw that and gone. Instead, he was really looking to finish it. And
I don't think he needed to. I think
No.
if he'd have been smart in the last 2 rounds, he takes that fight.
And I think he could have finished it just on boxing skill. Because the opens had become a lot better.
I think he was faster. And his movement was better than
But- and
Eubank's.
like, but,
Because
you know-
Eubank's a bit like...
You know, like you
direction.
say, both the legs were gone, so maybe he couldn't. But I'd have been, right,
Yeah,
I'd
if we
just
were in his corner, that's what you would have said. Look, mate.
go and pick your punches and then go for a walk.
Yeah, because he had that thing. That's what he was doing in most of it, innit? He had that little bit of, like, there'd be like a little calm and then a storm.
Yeah.
Boom. And then calm again. Like movement and calm. And then boom, a storm. That's what he should have done in the last
I mean,
2 rounds,
and
but
Eubank was extremely clever as soon as Eubank got clipped.
he was the more savvy. You could see that all the way through the
Got
fight. He was the
hold
more
of him
savvy.
straight away. And
Yeah, when he was hurt, he managed to move, get out of there, do
that's
it.
experience.
He was savvy. Yeah.
That is experience.
And I think that's where Ben's a little bit thrown up. I think it's 2 things on Ben's undoing. A bit of ring rustiness, because how long is it? About a year and a half or whatever, 2 years, whatever he's been out. And the savvy, the experience.
But he'll learn so much from that.
Yeah. I think he gets a lot of confidence from that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gutted at the end, but like,
I think Chris Eubank Jr. will learn a lot from that as well. And do you know what? Chris Eubank Jr. would be saying? Wish I had that fight 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because
but I don't think he'd be as savvy as...
No, because it'd have said, it'd have showed
No,
him.
but that'd have built his...
No, not just that. It'd have showed him, I can really, really dig deep.
Yeah.
I can go to the trenches. Because I don't think he's ever had to go to the trenches before.
No.
And I think
Well, I think Billam-Smith got him, but it wasn't really trenches. It was
no,
just taken out.
that's no.
And the second one was a relatively easy fight.
He's never been the trenches.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
Never
the
been
only
the
one
trenches.
where
That's why I'm saying he wished he'd had something like that 10 years ago, because that would have given him so much confidence to go,
and boosted his profile and everything else.
It's not about his profile. It'd have just done him the world of good that he can go where he thought he couldn't go. Mm-hmm. And I think he'll be gutted over that, because I think if he has that fight 10 years ago and puts in performances like that, then yeah, maybe he does become a world champion. It's like he's such an arrogant, cocky bastard. But I think
divisive, shall we say?
But I think,
pardon his language,
deep down, I think he does lack. I think he lacks a little bit of listening to him afterwards, I think he lacked a little bit of self-belief in himself.
Well, I don't think so much for this fight, but I think, when he's got to that world-class level, I think there's probably been a little bit of doubt.
A bit of self-belief, and I think this fight I think it's come a bit too late for him at 35. Yeah.
Because I think there's too many challenges in... Well, if you do middleweight, the problem you've got is Janibek and Adames now, and Lara, and I think all three of them are better than he is, even on that performance.
Lara's
the same. He's like old, isn't he? But like the thing is, for his boxing skill, he's probably beatable. I think Adames.
Well,
but Janibek, I think, is a few levels above.
This would bring us nicely on to another middleweight that you need to have a look at, and that is a young kid called McKenna.
Well, yeah, should we go that fight?
Who absolutely shone.
Well, I think I did say that in the thing. Didn't I have him to win?
You wouldn't want to go and have a fight with him, would you?
Well, I seen one of his the fight before.
Bloody wasp.
But the problem is
out.
We were watching with some like people who don't know, and they were like, "Yeah, this guy looks like Billam-Smith looks like 60." I think we said in our preview. And you got this guy who looks like 12, but then you see him in the ring and you realise actually how big he is. Because he looks like he's just like a...
He has got some skills, that boy.
Yeah.
For such a young age. Little foot movements, fantastic. Little feint, beautiful. Always keeping his head off the line.
Oh, his movement and it's like... Yeah, but it's like this. He'll do-do-do, and then he's here. And you haven't even realised that he's do-do-do from there.
It's not even...
The angles and everything.
It's
just tiny adjustments.
It's absolutely fantastic. Really good performance by him. And boxing purists will know who he is. Boxing fans wouldn't. They do now. And they'll look out for him. Let's see where that kid goes, because he beat a very well-seasoned, world-class opponent there. And
just bamboozled him, basically.
Yeah, made him look...
And I don't think we make an excuse that he wasn't that in shape, because he was, Billam-Smith.
No, he made him look a little bit silly at times. Well,
if you go scorecards, 119, 108, 117, 109, 118, 108.
I didn't give Billam-Smith one round.
No. And I was trying to be generous.
Billam-Smith.
No, he kept it going.
Part of a lie, and you're never going to stop
till the
him.
end. But yeah, McKenna was. Although he nearly had him in the 12th round, but he got up and kept going. Then you could see some of the savvy come out of Smith, to survive till the end.
McKenna was right. Too young, too fresh, too fast. So yeah, good on him.
Too skilled, I think, as well.
but didn't look like a young
No, he was
guy in there. He looked like a seasoned
like
pro.
He was quite good.
So it'll be interesting to see
hopefully
where they take him next, because that'll push him up the rankings massively, absolutely massively. So yeah, I'll be looking out for that kid. I really, really would.
Well, that was the main one, lopsided, isn't it? I think there was 2 lopsided one, isn't it?
I think he needs to. The only thing I will take is maybe to just sit down and learn to sit down on his punches a little bit.
Yeah, I think he just boxes more.
Yeah.
I think he did a little bit near the end, but it's near the end, isn't it? Where he's caught him. But
Billam-Smith. I mean, I think he'll retire now.
Yeah, I think.
Because he's not going to want to
take.
fight at lower level. And if he does retire, what a fantastic servant for British boxing. I mean, he was saying, it was 9 years ago we fought Canelo. 9 years ago.
Yeah.
He's been around forever. And he's been highly entertaining, absolutely fantastic. Like I say, I don't know if he is retiring or not, but I don't think we'll see him in the ring again.
I think, performance that one-sided, you've got to have a look and say, you do need to really be here. And he's had the big fights and the big moments and the things, and he's had a really fantastic
and
career.
like you say, unfortunately, Father Time waits for no man.
Yeah, catches up with everybody.
And, he's passed the torch to Mr. McKenna. And there's no disgrace in that. I think that this is the really exciting.
Hopefully McKenna goes place and then he lost to the world champion or whatever.
But you know what? Liam Smith will give him all the credit in the world as well. Because Liam Smith don't get beat like that.
No.
I've never seen him beat like that. All right, he's been stopped by like Canelo and things, but I've never seen him beat like that.
He was completely up.
Yeah.
Cool. So McKenna now is actually he's 15th on the IBF list, and they dropped him out of the WBO, but he should be on there as well, really. A rising star, I think, that one.
Yeah. Look, watch out for him.
Quite
Don't
a nice
rush him.
Division.
I mean, because he's just like...
There's a head in the queue in it, but I think
he's just beating a world-class fighter there, so keep doing what you're doing with him, because whatever you're doing with him, it's working really, really well. So Ireland's next superstar, possibly.
Yep. And the other sort of one-sided fight before we go into this was Viddal Riley and Cheavon Clarke, which we didn't do a video on. That was pretty one-sided as well.
Yeah.
And Riley just had too much skill, really. Clarke tried and did, but Riley was just too good, really.
Yeah.
There's a few little moments, but...
Interesting to see where he goes. No.
Well, I think they're the two upsets if you... Things. Although not that big if you watch
It was a really good performance.
So I think he's the British cruiserweight champion.
Yeah, well-polished performance. Go and fight the European. Go for European title. You're not ready for world yet, but go for European title, definitely. Our cruiserweight division's becoming a little bit spicy. I like it.
There's people coming in now, and it's from one boring division, it's actually starting to warm up.
Simmering, and it's looking good.
And then using that, neatly moving on to our man, Mr. Billam-Smith, which I didn't get to see all of this fight. I've only seen a bit of the...
Yeah, I mean...
Properly, but I think... Yeah.
It was a good fight. He won.
I think Glanton came out first to sort of take him out of there.
Glanton's one of them lads. He's in the Who Needs Him club. He's a bloody nightmare.
Yeah.
I think Chris Billam-Smith made a little bit hard work of it at times. He still takes too many punches for me, Chris Billam-Smith.
Yeah.
And that is why I would never put him near Opataya.
No, I don't think it's...
I think Opataya's got freak power. And I think how many punches Chris Billam-Smith takes, he's not going to take them against Opetaia for me. I might be wrong, but and he looked a little bit slow at times.
Well, he has done even before, didn't he? The thing is, he can pull it out. He's got that like grit and things going, but he does take too many punches to get the punch as well, isn't it? And he's not the fastest hands. So, yeah, I think against like an Opetaia or something.
I mean, it's a great victory for Chris Billam-Smith, and it does put him back in that world title mix. So he might get, he could get a world title shot next. I mean, you'd still watch Chris Billam-Smith against Jai Opetaia.
Yeah.
That's still a huge fight. So yeah, but I don't know what's next for him. It's a mystery because he's going to want a big fight.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the problem is you've got Zerdo's got, and then Opetaia's got, and then the only one really you can look at going is the WBC, but that's up in the air because there's obviously next weekend is the Badu Jack and
does Chris Billam-Smith fight the winner of that?
Yeah,
he could do.
Well, I think Rizicki's in line, isn't he? He's the one who should have been fighting on this anyway.
Hey, the Saudis are involved, mate, so it's up to them.
So
isn't it?
They may change that, yeah. So he's probably got a shot. Or maybe like Rizicki is the guy, isn't it? And then have what is it?
Who knows?
Who's the contender for the WBC title fight? I think there's also talk of unification of that, either with Opetaia or Ramirez.
Yeah, I think they are trying to get a unification.
One of the other two of them.
Pretty quick.
And
on
then
that.
they're going to try and do the undisputed. But yeah, it's gone from being like a nondescript division to being, quite well.
Again, all it shows to me is with Chef Clarke Riddell Riley fight and the Chris Billam-Smith Glanton fight is Jai Opetaia is leagues above them.
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, I think Zerdo and Opetaia are like
leagues
a level above all the others. The interesting one is that other side, isn't it? The Rizicki side and the what McCallion was before he gave it up and stuff, isn't it? But yeah, I think there's a group that them, and then there's a little jump and a little bit of space, and then you've got like Zerdo and Opetaia. But at least there's others there now. It's not as far as it was before.
No.
Where it was just like Opetaia.
They're all going to, and the good fights, if they happen, they're good fights.
Yeah. I think there's a few there who'd give both of them a good fight. Yeah, you would expect Opetaia or Zerdo to win, but there'll be a bit more. And I think we've got one left. The light heavyweight, Anthony Yarde and Lyndon Arthur. This one swung as well, isn't it? Between...
Yeah. Yarde had to dig deep for this.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looked like it was going away from him for a little bit. He started well, and then it looked like it was going to go away from him.
Yeah, it was the last 4 rounds. He pulled it back because I had him down on the cards.
Yeah.
Lyndon Arthur was fighting really well. I don't rate Yarde.
He's good to a certain level, isn't it? But like if you're putting him on the world class level,
I don't rate him. I don't know why.
I think it's only. It's like when we've said it's the better beer fight that's giving him credit, and if you take that out, there isn't actually that much there substance.
He smothers all his own work.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't work hard enough during the rounds. He seems to take a lot of time off. Yeah, he dug deep in this one, to be fair. I will give him credit for that.
Well, I think Lyndon Arthur's better than people give him credit for because...
I mean, Lyndon Arthur
because
had a
I've seen him against Bivol, and Bivol was just, but Bivol's different level. And then you take him out, and then you actually look at his record and think, he's actually... And even in this fight, he's pulled it back, to where he's winning, basically. Yeah. And then I think it's just near the end.
It could be. I don't know whether Yarde's gone into this fight because he demolish him really quickly last time.
Yeah, fairly quickly in about middle rounds.
And whether he's just gone into this fight thinking, I'm just going to do the same again. So I'm going to
the first fight went like this. If you take but Arthur finished the rounds. So this one he's managed to pull it back.
I want to see him fight Boatti next.
Yeah.
It's all I want. I want Yarde Boatsy. That is a great fight.
I think, yeah. He needs to go through these to get to the level
Yeah.
because you're not at the level of the top two guys.
He's nowhere
Probably
near.
not at Benavidez' level.
He's nowhere near.
He's not even, I think, at Callum-Smith level.
He's nowhere near.
So the fight really is Boatsy and him, and then to show that you are, I'm close enough to have that.
Go and fight Boatsy, because that is a great fight. And it's been too long. That fight's been talked about for a long time, and it needs to happen.
Yeah.
So go and have it.
And then somebody like a Morel or somebody. I'd want to see the Boatsy one first.
Yeah, it's
And then the
gotta be
winner of that maybe
Yarde,
go against the Morel or somebody.
Just Yarde Boatsy. I don't know how it hasn't been made already, but it needs to be made now. I don't know whether they're both pricing themselves out. I mean, you hear a lot of different things. I think...
Well, out of the top ranking people in light heavyweight, who else are they going to fight? Because there'd be Boatsy's fought Smith, Eubank and Benavidez. With the losses, the closest guy to Benavidez is probably Callum-Smith. So you basically gatekeep it from him. Better be able to fight each other. So the next best fight is basically, on like ring ranking, is Boatsy and Yarde. Boatsy's fourth, Yarde is fifth.
Boatsy Yarde feels out like the O2.
Yeah.
Or the Manchester Arena. It's a big fight.
Yeah.
In Britain, it's a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to see it. I've wanted to see it for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. That's an intriguing matchup, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great fight. Just please get that fight made.
Yeah.
Yarde Boatsy.
Because I'm not sure where else they go.
It's the biggest fight for either of them. It's their biggest fight.
And then they can talk about...
You'll find out who's number 2 in Britain. Because although Boatsy lost to Smith, you can't say Yarde's...
No, but that was close. So
Yeah, I wouldn't put Yarde
I had
above
Boatsy's
Boatsy.
favourite.
And I wouldn't... Yeah, so they need to fight. So promoters or whoever, do your job. Get Yarde Boatsy fighting, because that's a great fight.
Yeah.
Love it. I love that fight, Yarde Boatsy. I really, really like it.
Okay, I think that's all of them, isn't it? So, yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. And
Quick one. Eubank Benn rematch.
Yeah, I'd like to see the rematch.
Do you think a rematch will happen?
The size thing, because they're respective weights, it depends where they want to stay. But if I was looking at it commercially, I'm not sure there's a bigger fight for either of them at this moment in time.
There is a 2-fight deal in place, isn't there?
So, yeah, I think there should be. I think Conor Benn's earned it. A rematch to get that on. And, I think now that he's had a fight, he won't be so ring rusty, and they'll have a bit of... They can tweak the strategy a bit, I think, yeah. That could potentially even be better than this, which is mouth.
I reckon it'll be in September at Tottenham again.
Not a bad call.
With Yarde Boatsy on the undercard. Pen
See,
drop.
look, you're doing the work for him again, isn't it?
I should actually work for him.
You should just be telling him.
I should work for him.
Listen, Matchroom. Listen, Your Excellency.
And
Here's the fight to make.
Oppenheimer v Smith on the undercard as well.
With Callum-Smith?
No, Chris Billam-Smith.
Oh, yeah, cruiserweight we're talking about, isn't it?
Mate, I'm making the card here
Well,
already.
Oppenheimer's going to be like co-main event, isn't he? So I don't think that he's going to drop down. But yeah, because the timing would probably fit with him having a... He's got an upcoming fight. Then if they don't sort out the unification, then that's probably a good call for a fight.
And wouldn't happen, but I'm going to throw it in there.
Mm-hmm.
McKenna. Shiraz.
Yeah.
I've just made the greatest boxing card ever.
You're trying to beat this one, isn't it?
Mate.
That's what it is.
Chris Billam-Smith versus Oppenheimer. Eubank Jr. Benn. Hamza Shiraz versus
Isn't it like
McKenna.
a 5v5 nearly? Well, we got 4v4 there.
Yarde versus Boatsy. That's a card.
Yeah.
That is a card.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that hard to sell it now, because you've got this one to go. Look what we did there. Now look what we got. And we got some world titles on the line this time. So, yeah, I think it's... I think it's raised the profile of boxing, so I think probably should say thank
You
you,
know
to
what?
both
Yeah.
of them.
But no, we should celebrate that British boxing won yesterday, and it was just fantastic.
For entertainment factor, and which is what it is.
Absolutely fantastic. Oh, didn't we? I don't know whether it's come up yet.
What is he looking for?
Pay-per-view buys for...
Yeah, I was saying we should really have a look because there was sold out. What is it, 67,000 something in the arena? It's usually a few days.
Yeah. We'll find out, because didn't I say it should do over like 4 million?
No, I think that was a bit excessive. But probably, I think they're estimating between 700,000 and 800,000.
I think it's done more than that.
And no, I don't think they're out yet. I can't find any anyway.
Oh, hold on.
Have you found some?
I found something. No, I haven't found it.
Yeah, they normally take a few days or a week
days.
to put them out, don't they? Because they have to check more.
Yeah,
and whatever.
no,
things.
Yeah, thank you all the fighters on there. Thanks to all the promoters, Eddie Ham, Ben Shalom, Turkey Al Sheikh. That guy who's representing Ring looks like a proper slime ball. They need to sort that out. He looks as dodgy as they come in. Have you seen him?
It's supposed to be praising the
No, but have you seen him? Oh,
Which one?
mate.
Ring representative.
Yeah,
is it?
take a look at him, man. He is dodgy work. I've forgotten what his name is. So is it reminds me of Roland Rat. He's in all the photos holding the ring belt.
We'll find that out for the next
Because
one.
honest to God, it was just, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh my God, here he is.
Yeah, okay. We'll put that picture in. Put that picture in there, I think. Yeah. We don't know who that is.
No.
Shout out to you anyway, whoever that is. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think of the various fights, what you think of the event in general. And do you think it's a good stepping stone for British boxing, bringing it back into the limelight? And what do you think of Simon's card? If you like it, please, put likes on and spread it around. Get it to those people who can make it happen.
British boxing's the best, and that's all there is to it. And
sporting event, as entertainment event,
yeah, we're the best,
and atmosphere.
Yeah, it's we are the best for boxing, and Britain is the home of boxing, and always will be the home of boxing. Forget Saudi Arabia, Times Square, Las Vegas. Britain is the home of boxing.
Seats in the Times Square one. Well, we'll see what they do.
No. Britain is,
and it'll be interesting to compare the pay-per-view for this and the viewing and the audience against those events. That'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
We will look at that after those fights.
Conor Benn,
once we know. Yep.
Chris Eubank Jr. Superb, boys. Well done.
And thank you very much for watching, and let us know what you think, and like and subscribe and all the usual goodness, and we shall see you in the next one. Thank you.